And
So
now
yeah,
recording again.
Telegram. What?
Yeah, I mainly use it for political stuff.
That's the main reason why I like Telegram. I like Telegram for a lot of the political stuff that I do, but I also like Telegram for some of the movie forums that I'm in. Because I'm in some movie forums where I can download movies and TV shows and shit like that. So that's why I don't have a whole lot of things that probably shouldn't be talking about there.
Did
But
you say you are recording again?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
but yeah, I use like Telegram because you can get a lot more information out during events like this through Telegram and Signal and shit like that
Yeah.
versus like platforms that are okay. So what gets me is Twitter has been actively taking down posts about Russian troop movements, but keeping Ukrainian troop movements up.
Yep.
I guess that tracked the communists Twitter.
And because there have been a few times today where I've gone back to look at a tweet and it said that it was removed for violating community guidelines and shit on Twitter. And I'm like, you know how hard it is to get a post removed on Twitter violating their guidelines? Like, so yeah, they'll let Ukrainian troop movements or like photos or videos of Ukrainians moving around. They'll remove some of the stuff about Russian troops being moved around. It's like, whose side are you on, Twitter? Like, you're a U.S. based company.
Yeah. No, true. Which that's like kind of confusing.
So most of social media, while especially the U.S. based companies, while they may be U.S. based, that doesn't mean that's where all their money is.
Very true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That is one of the main things too. It's a cliche thing to say, but it's so very fucking true, especially nowadays, is follow the money.
Exactly.
Money is what makes the world go round.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there's so many people have put out books and shit that show exactly where Soros and all those, like, the open societies and all that shit, like, where they give their money to, and, like, it's just so much of that backing that just leads to the same fucking people and sources, and it's undeniable after a while. It really is.
We're still trying to figure out why they're actively censoring like anything on Kiev right now.
Yeah, there's
Like,
very little.
You're seeing reports of like the bombardment started back up on Kiev, but then like you try to actively find it and like
Okay.
it's there for a second and then disappears.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find anything like specific to Kiev. With the bombardments, like the most recent footage I've been able to find in the capital is that video, those videos that were posted by Brother Seven.
Okay.
Where it still shows business as usual.
Right.
And then like the weird thing is right now if you go to YouTube and you watch the live stream in Kiev, like it's so weird because it's like I swear it's the same loop from last night before the bombardment started.
Oh, it probably is. I bet it probably is.
Yeah, and I
Because,
feel
like-
like those videos Brother Seven was posting are from way before.
Because like if you go on Snapchat, dude, like you go to the Snapchat map, you can actively see the bombardments happening. But then you go to anything that has a live stream, like from the same angle, and it's like normal. Like there's not even a war going on. It's
Like,
bro,
everything's
what is
fine.
going on?
Everything's fine.
It's censorship and propaganda.
Oh, totally.
Did you read into that article that showed that that said Russia or China refuses to accept that Russia invaded Ukraine, and that Russia was saying that Ukraine bombed their own towns to say that it was Russia bombing
What?
civilians.
I
Really?
also read an article where all the bombardment videos were CGI'd, and none of that actually happened. I'm like, explain the burned out tanks that are on the side of the road.
We are reaching new levels of fucking crazy, crazy news propaganda and delusion.
They're like, oh, the Russians didn't lose 30 tanks, then why did I see like 5 tanks on the side of the road all destroyed in the same column? Like, come on now.
Yeah, they're like, dude. There's no way that there isn't some crazy fucking takeover kind of happening right
Which
now over there.
I do give Ukraine credit for the amount of vehicles they have destroyed, if that number is true.
Yeah, I do too. I was gonna say that as well. Yeah, because they did some shit. I'll give them some credit.
Yeah,
I give Ukraine credit just for having transparency in fucking general.
Yeah.
Or at least some
Oh, yeah.
kind of transparency.
Yeah, a form of it at least.
Yeah, no, they're very honest about the fact that the situation's fucked, and it's dangerous to be in Ukraine now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like when they basically said, "Hey, we're going to pull an American move here, and we're going to arm every single citizen."
Right.
What
Oh,
happened to
what
gun
was it?
control?
What was that? That 18 to 60? Any
Yeah, everyone 18 to 60's got a report basically to get a rifle.
Yeah, dude. That's like, dude, can you do this? Well, guess what? You're recruited. If you can pull a fucking trigger, you're in the game, dog. Like,
All men between 18 and 60 are mandated. Women can choose to.
okay.
Some of the first videos that kind of shocked me because this is like the first. I mean, I've watched almost every video from the original incursion into Ukraine in 2014 and on, right? Didn't see too many women getting involved, right? But the first video that Russia released of Ukrainian prisoners, there were like 3 women in that unit that got captured.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is not something you're used to seeing.
Yeah.
I saw that message. I'll respond to it in a minute, Kyle.
Yeah, with the recording going on, I didn't want to ask.
Mm-hmm. I was on a train of thought and I lost it.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Out of all the like Eastern European countries, Ukraine is actually a little bit more progressive.
Okay.
Yeah, the amount of women I've seen that like taking up arms the past month to 2 months. Like, what was it? The professor that went out and bought a what was it? I think it was an AR-15, and she bought a suppressor and she bought an LPVO and she went to a sniper and counter sniper course.
No
All of
shit.
that stuff, and I'm like, damn. Like, you got this lady, she's a cat, and she even admitted she was a cat lady. She was like, cat mom and all that shit, and like just a
Right.
normal ass fucking person, right? And out of nowhere, she's like, yeah, I decided to go buy an AR-15 with an LPVO and a suppressor and thousands of rounds of ammo. I went to a sniper and counter sniper course and just talking like it was a fucking normal Saturday morning. And I was like, I thought we got extreme on training, but I guess when you have imminent invasion of Russia,
Let's read some of these.
kinda,
Well, some of these end times headlines. Ukraine's president warns UK war will be knocking on your door if Russia unchecked. I don't. I mean, I don't know. Putin's wild and he's doing what he's doing, but I don't know how far he'll really go. Like I know.
If he gets away with this.
Well, I know what you were.
Away with taking Ukraine.
Right, and I know what you were talking about, Disgruntled, but I just don't know how far he'll really try to go if he starts like invading on areas with NATO, stuff like that. I mean,
Well,
yeah.
my thing is, NATO should be null and void. This
No,
is
it's
a UN nation
right.
fighting a UN nation.
It should be, and here's the other thing: is I mean, the only reason why I say this because I don't think that he'll do things outside of what is going to completely destroy his country because. I mean, he's doing what he's doing because he's confident, obviously. But
I think the power. I think he's going to get drunk on this, and
I mean, yeah, maybe a little bit. But the only other area that's really going to fuck with him that can maybe even stop him, to be honest, is either us or China, and we're not doing anything. We're not going to. Biden's not going to. Like, I mean, people can say, yeah, somebody might take the control or whatever else, but I'm sorry, but no, America's is a real fucking bitch-ass motherfucker right now. China is the only one that's really going to go against them.
Give it a couple months.
It's going to... Okay, so I have a feeling it's going to go the same way that 1939 Germany went. And it was only meant to go a certain distance, right? And then it all went to his head, and he's like, "Oh, I can just blitzkrieg all of Europe."
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't. I think he's gonna play it smart. I think he's gonna play it smart. I don't think it's gonna go to his head. I think he's gonna start taking some shit over, and he's gonna wait a while. I don't see him really going into too many NATO areas. Yeah, maybe Ukraine might be the ally with like NATO, but they're not part of NATO. But I don't see him really going into too many NATO areas and really pissing off that many people to where it's going to be like 7 countries against him. I just don't see it happening. I don't think he's that dumb.
It's going to be more like 30 countries.
Well, either way, multiple against him. Either way, I don't see him being that dumb. Yeah, maybe he's pissing some people off right now, but if he takes back his area that he wants and he settles for a while, he wins.
I would love for that to be the case, but
I think it's going to be for the most part. I really do.
The only reason I disagree is because of the way he initiated this invasion, with going straight for total shock and awe.
Well, then, if it's going to come to that, how far do you think he's willing to go? Where else do you think he would be willing to hit, and how far do you think he's willing to go?
Any place
just for play's sake.
Any place that used to fly the hammer and sickle and the USSR flag is a potential target.
He's trying to reclaim the...
Say all the way to Berlin, basically.
He's trying to reclaim the old territory.
Completely make the Soviet Union again, like every little bit of it.
By the way, Joanna, it is being recorded right now. I did.
Yeah, I'm recording right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just letting you know.
Do you want me to leave, or is it okay if I stay?
Yeah,
it's okay. You can be here.
Yeah, just letting you know.
We're just letting you know so you know that it's being recorded.
Yeah, I'm going to post it in the general chat for anyone else.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, hey, everybody, don't jump in unless you are okay with being recorded.
Yeah, I'm doing screen recording so I can maybe post it to YouTube and whatever else, like podcast-wise. But right now we're talking about the whole deal with, like, Russia and that whole jazz, like, yeah, it's pretty interesting with what's going on.
Yeah, I honestly think anywhere that used to be a former Soviet Union territory is not.
Okay, which I can see. I mean, that's been the main consensus between quite a few people is that he just wants to get everything back to the Soviet Union, which I mean, which is crazy nowadays with so many more people and the way things are trying to take over areas. It's going to be hard to take over that big of an area and like have people backing you. Like, you're going to have to be super dictatorship again. It's going to fall along the lines of like China and shit now. Is he going to...
On that point,
Yeah.
there have been a number of Russian citizens on social media that have explained that Putin wasn't actually elected.
Okay.
He took power, kept power, and is, by definition, a dictator.
Yeah, he has a resolution. They passed a resolution where he can keep power until 2034.
God damn.
Yeah, any opponent that has come out against Putin, who has tried to be elected into office, has suspiciously died in one way or another. They have been disappeared.
Well,
Which is why I say that he's probably willing to go as far as it takes to get what he wants.
that is true. Okay.
This just came in. The ballistic missile attacks have started back up again, full blown.
Oh, really? If there's any, I was gonna say that's one thing with like doing this recording too on here. I can do screen share, so if there is something that like does become interesting, I can always screen share something, and we can.
I'm trying to find something that's not just something on repeat, like I mentioned, because everything's just it's on a loop. No, it's not ballistic missiles. It's actual Russian airstrikes.
Man, that's gonna be. This is fucking wild. This is wild. Okay, now I'll put it into somewhat of a perspective from what I'm thinking. Like, we're like, what we're witnessing right now is like, yeah, it's a takeover, but like to really think of it, it's like what was it, Genghis Khan in a way. But I don't know how many people he's going to take out, but it's like we're witnessing like a Genghis Khan type thing where like somebody's actually taking areas back or trying to, or like take over some shit. We really haven't, in my lifetime, I really haven't witnessed something like that to where it's like, yeah, there's been a few things where some people have taken over some little areas, but nothing like he's trying to take Ukraine again. He's trying to recreate the Soviet Union. Pretty fucking wild.
I feel like this is how it would feel in 1939 if they had social media.
Right.
The last time that something like this was witnessed by people was in the 1930s.
Dude, it's crazy.
Like this is World War II 2.0, but with social media this time.
Right. Yeah. True.
And people saying, Daddy Vladdy, don't attack.
Right.
And Putin's invasion of Ukraine has been as fast and sudden as Hitler's invasion of Poland.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna make a post about that. It took 2 days for the UK and France to just collect themselves. Like, did this dude just do this? And
Right.
did they just do this fast? And then that's when the UK and France declared war on Germany. It took 2 days for them to get their shit in gear to be like, oh, this is what we're doing now. So I basically have a feeling that by the time tomorrow morning rolls around, there's going to be a little bit more, probably, because it's going to be going towards the end of the day there when we're waking up. So,
Right.
It's the hard part for us here in the States is like, their day is almost over when we're starting our day. So, like,
Right.
all of their stuff, we're being reactionary to it because, like, most of us are asleep.
And I was
This is
watching
happening.
I was watching TikTok lives earlier during the day, and it was just like sirens going off at night, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're on a completely different time zone.
We are on the threshold of World War III.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, oh, this is
it's
getting
just-
wild.
It's just fitting that Putin gives a speech, and then at 4:04 in the morning, when he's done with his speech, as soon as he's done, rockets are flying.
Oh, it was scheduled.
Oh yeah,
Well,
but it's just like
One of the worst parts.
Hey, Travis knows. Travis and Tread knows. They always attack at dawn.
Right. Well, and like one of the worst parts though is like the speech given by our fucking our commander in chief. Oh, it was terrible. Like, oh my god, we are so weak. We are so weak, and they know it. That shit's about to get it. I'll say it 100 times. It's shit's getting interesting. It's gonna keep getting interesting.
We need anybody else in office.
Yeah.
Like Biden and his whole
I
cabinet need to-
couldn't imagine exactly what would happen right now, and like, or what our exact reaction would be, is if we got, like, I don't even want to say it, which it would suck, but if we got bombed or something, if we got attacked, say California, any of that, like, I don't even know what kind of reaction we would have with him in office. I really don't.
Not an appropriate one.
Not an appropriate one at all. I think it would fucking be terrible. See, that's what worries me.
Yeah, no. If it comes down to where we absolutely have to get involved, my concern is that we don't have the proper administration to be in this kind of fight.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. Is that, the president and his cabinet, if they weren't in office, we would be so much better off.
We'd be better off with nobody in office.
Yeah.
I honestly don't
Yeah,
think this
honestly.
would be happening right now if we didn't have the current administration. But I don't know, man. Someone brought it up to me earlier that they were watching their kids and shit playing video games and being completely clueless as to what's going on on the other side of the world, and how just naive it is. And then us as adults realizing I can't think of the word. The ramifications of what's going on. That's not the word I wanted, but the only word I can think of at the time. Like, our kids have no clue what's going on right now,
Yeah.
and they're not going to know for a long time. And if this does go into a full-blown world war, like, we as adults know what's going on. Like, okay, 9/11 was different, right? Like, we had not a nation that could actually put up a fight. Like, we were fighting an ideology, not a country with nuclear weapons. Like, I don't know. It's a weird time we live in.
Oh, it definitely is.
I can't think of my words.
The one thing that kind of irks me right now is the trend going around on TikTok where, like, people that have never served or veterans even are doing that trend where they're acting like they got their draft letter in the mail for clout.
Really?
And the reason why that irks me is because the only ones that are doing that are people that haven't seen combat with an ununiformed combatant and don't realize how much worse force on force, uniform on uniform combat is.
Like, all right, ISIS didn't have tanks, and if they did, they were kind of broken down, and they didn't know how to work on them and shit like that, right? Like, we're talking about a country that specializes in tank warfare and rocket warfare. Like,
I'm even talking about just the sheer scale of casualties on both sides.
the thermobaric weapons, we've never gone against those.
Yeah.
No, we haven't. And in reality, they're like baby nukes without the radiation.
I'm glad someone else explained it that way. I explained it that way earlier. But someone else asked what it was.
Right, so they can project outward. It's basically more or less like the intensification or the radius, like the explosion and shit without the radiation is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
And like the
High
overpressure.
explosive yield with no radiation.
Okay. Damn.
Which they supposedly used them in 2014, but the UN, all of them denied that it even happened.
Okay.
Well, and when they go off at night, they look like a nuke.
Okay.
It looks like a second sun, and then there's a mushroom cloud.
And those rocket launchers are all around the border. The TOS-1 flamethrower. I love how they're called flamethrowers, but they're not flamethrowers.
There is no armor as far as vehicles are concerned. I can currently stand up to a thermobaric warhead.
Right.
See, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, we would be going up against weaponry that, like, we may have trained for on, like, to an extent, but, like, you're not going to really know how we're going to react until that first contact with a thermobaric fucking warhead.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what and there's some reports that is what they hit Kharkiv with, like, right out the gate. They hit him with thermobarics right out the gate.
Okay.
Those were the first rounds that hit.
Do you guys know, just like the comment back to getting drafted, do you guys know how draft works just for enlisted?
Yes,
'Cause I-
every male between the ages of 18 and 25 have to register for the selective service, and it's a random lottery.
Mhm.
And numbers are selected at random, and then if a number is selected, they are sent a letter. They have to go get a physical, and if they are medically fit, they go.
Right. I wasn't talking in that sense. I was actually meaning in the sense of, like, who's called up first, because I have some experience with that. Like, it isn't...
The inactive reserve.
Yes. So basically, if you're, whether you sign 4 or 6 years as an enlisted, you're actually signed up for 8. So if you complete your 4 or 6 years, the military can still call you back within that 8-year period for service. So there's a whole lot of vets who would be called back into service first. And the reason this was set up was to avoid another draft.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now,
Hopefully it doesn't come down to having a draft.
Now, I think that if they do actually enact the draft, the way that they're going to go about it is obviously send, active duty out first. Then they're going to mobilize National Guard and reserves. Then they're going to mobilize inactive reserves. And then after that, if they do have to actually enact the draft, I feel that they're going to go for veterans that either were in combat or combat MOSs first before they start trying to go for everyone else. That's when they'll pull out the lock and everything.
For that, they can't force anyone that met that 8-year requirement to come back in. They can request.
Here's the thing. People like me who got medically discharged due to a broken foot, for all fucking things, my 8-year inactive reserve was void.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they
Yeah.
could still send you a letter requesting you to come back in, and they might even offer you a promotion.
I'll take it. I'll say it right now. I'll fucking take it.
So I think that whole Ukraine's air defense was knocked out is bullshit because I just put a video in where their air defense just took out a looks like to be a missile, possibly intercepted. So, but yeah, like they're not like I heard someone said like, oh, is Russia going to follow the rules of war? And I'm like, they've already not. So, like, what makes you think they are going to?
You mean by attacking civilian targets?
Like using cluster munitions in a residential area.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw that earlier today. I saw cluster munitions, and I'm like, hey, I remember a thing that said cluster munitions were no longer to be used.
Yeah, I think they wrote it somewhere like Geneva or something like that.
Yeah, something that Russia did definitely, like, possibly signed at one point. I'm
Was
pretty
there,
sure
like,
they're
a-
also part of this thing called the UN, which also has like rules against that shit too. They're
Right.
a sitting
Was
member.
there a convention? Was there
The
any type of
uninvolved
convention on this?
There might have been a large convention involved in it.
Okay.
Allegedly.
I just wanted to make sure.
I think they
Yeah,
even held it in one of those
allegedly.
fancy hotels.
They definitely spent lots of money and had lots of parties afterwards also.
Fact.
But yeah, I saw cluster munitions being used in Kharkiv in a residential neighborhood, and I'm like, well, there goes the rules right out the fucking door.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Like,
why I'm not
they weren't
surprised.
following- Like they
Russia
weren't
could
following
give-
them to begin with.
Russia could give two flying fucks about the rules.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not surprised that frontline reporters are wearing body armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I have. Okay, if anybody has not watched this, I do not like Vice News as a whole. But the coverage they did of the original incursion in Ukraine in 2014, 2015, it was done by Simon Ostrovsky. He's not with Vice News anymore. But he started the war not wearing body armor, right? Started the whole incursion not wearing body armor, but by the end of the 113-part series they did, dude was wearing body armor, a helmet, and I'm pretty sure was being escorted by Ukrainian security forces everywhere he went because he got kidnapped by the Russians
He's like, nah, I learned.
he got kidnapped by the Russians at the very beginning of the conflict, and they almost killed him for being a spy.
Damn.
Because he's a Ukrainian citizen. He's a Ukrainian citizen. Well, he holds dual citizenship in the U.S. and Ukraine, so they considered him to be a spy. But it is very good documentation of how the Russians operated, and how I think the Russians wanted to operate this time, but realized they lost the surprise element when they massed 190,000 fucking people.
So they are unlikely to intentionally avoid shooting press, medics, or religious sites.
Right.
I have a feeling that those will intentionally be attacked, and then they will pretend that it was an accident.
There is. I need to find it and post it. There
You
is
think?
a long
Hold on. You
document.
think they'll intentionally be attacked and it'll be on, but they'll say it'll be on accident?
Yes.
So
I gotcha.
There was a Ukrainian Orthodox priest that was killed, I think, in 2015 for providing food to wounded Ukrainian soldiers.
Damn.
And he was pulled out of his church and executed.
Wow.
But then they said the Ukrainians did it.
A lot of this is going to circle back to religion because in communism, you aren't allowed to have religion. Communism is kind of its own religion in and of itself. So,
Unless if
I
you're
mean,
part of the Russian Orthodox Church, then it's allowed.
right, or like with China. But I mean, China just, I don't know what religion or faith China has,
I think
or if
China
any.
is. I think China's more like basically atheist in a way. As far as I know,
Right.
it's more than that. Yeah,
And they've worshipped Xi Jinping.
yeah,
Um, and that's why they aren't allowed to have any type of religious text. Like people are straight up murdered for having any kind of religious text
right,
when it comes to like the Chinese Communist Party, because you are supposed to worship Xi Jinping because he is the highest of the land.
hmm,
So you're going to see a lot of attacks on religion as a whole, any and all religion when it comes to communism.
right, right.
Hospitals won't be safe either.
Yeah,
No.
they weren't safe the last time either. And the last time was a fucking cakewalk compared to this time. I mean, at least they were shaking hands when they entered the country the first time, you know? They're being somewhat civil.
hmm.
Well, I think they did that because Ukraine didn't have any fucking defenses. Ukrainians didn't want them there the first time they were there anyhow. Like Ukraine very famously said that this was not a marriage, that Russia came and raped their country.
Right.
I mean, it, you know, Russia was like, "Oh, this was a marriage and we're parting amicably." Like, and Ukraine was like, "No, fuck that noise." You lying bastards.
But who's the world going to believe? The small, little, barely known country or the major superpower?
Right.
It depends which demographic you ask.
And also, the only reason why they've been able to keep Crimea is because they're basically ethnic Russian and ethnic Cossacks. So, but once this is said and over with, say they do take all of Ukraine, they're not all ethnic Russians.
Mhm.
They're not all going to want to be part of Russia.
Ukraine was a country before the Soviet Union took it.
Yeah, it
Well,
was
Ukraine-
okay. Well, it was its own thing before then, right? Yeah.
The
Yeah,
People's
well,
Republic,
Ukraine-
the People's Republic of Ukraine.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. And then before that, it was Hungary. And that was when Hitler invaded. Hitler famously invaded Hungary, which is now the Ukraine. And he took everybody from Hungary and took them to Austria in concentration and put them in concentration camps.
Okay.
And that caused him to lose the war. He knew that he was going to lose the war, but he didn't care at that point as long as he got into Hungary and gathered up the citizens there and got them to Austria, where he could put them in concentration camps and kill as many of them as he could.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I'm pretty damn sure I already knew that was part of that area, but okay. Yeah, it's nice breaking it down that way again. So now it's a little bit easier to kind of understand that way too.
Yeah. I mean, I feel really horrible for the Ukraine because just as a whole, as a country, they've just been absolutely torn apart throughout history.
Yeah.
Like Poland and Estonia and Lithuania
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and all those other Baltic countries.
Mm-hmm.
No shit. It's kind of like, I mean, another one of those cliche sayings. It's kind of that history repeats itself. Shit seems to be kind of happening again. It's always in some of those areas.
Poland has literally been invaded by every country that borders it,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
and some that don't.
And some that don't.
Yeah, well, same with Ukraine. Like, Germany coming up there and being like, "Hey guys, we're just going to take everyone here who's a Jew, and we're going to take you to Austria to kill you. So, have fun."
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
and by the way, we're going to say that all of you are Jews because.
Because,
Because,
yeah. Yeah, true.
Yeah, wasn't that Holodomor or whatever it was called? The incident that happened to Ukrainian Jews.
It's literally, we will say you are something because it fits our narrative and we just don't like you.
Yep.
That's all it boils down to.
History may not repeat itself exactly, but it sure comes really close.
Yeah, as I say, it may not repeat itself, but it sure fucking rhymes.
Well, I think it's partly because, people may not be fully educated on things that happened,
Well,
or they may be looking at it through just kind of rose-colored glasses of like, well, communism could be this wonderful, beautiful thing if all of these pieces fell into place. And it's like, yeah, but that has never worked. You have to look at the actual real-life application of it.
That's what I don't get. That's the main thing that I don't get, because I grew up knowing that Marxism, communism, all of that, socialism, it just doesn't work. It's been tried. Just doesn't work.
Communism looks good.
Well, it looks, yeah, and it does look good on paper, but it just doesn't seem to work. And that's like, how did it shift? How did it shift so much to where all the facts of all of that time, to where this stuff right here, Marxism, that enslaved fucking billions, killed millions, how did it get accepted? How did it,
because you have so many individuals that are indoctrinating each other into, well, that wasn't real communism.
Still don't.
On paper, communism would be fantastic. It really would. I'm not going to deny it. The problem is you'd have to have every single person on the face of the planet believing the exact same thing with no deviation, not even the slightest.
Right. And here's my argument against that is the human condition itself.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because for you to achieve peace, for anybody to achieve true peace, my ideology of peace is different than others.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's plain and simple.
Exactly.
The way I live my life in peace is not the way, say, fuck the government or Pricky or Freedom Futures or anybody in here or on the face of this planet decides to live their life in peace.
Right.
The idea of peace is what keeps you, but trying to force your belief upon others causes strife, causes war. And that is one of the biggest reasons why communism will never work.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. And also there's this...
Yeah, I might be a redneck, but I'm an educated redneck.
Hell yeah.
Same.
Well, and the other thing...
Sorry, I should change my name to Rainbow Redneck. Or
Rainbow
Neck.
Yeah, Rainbow Neck.
I mean, the other thing with communism is one of the main reasons it's never worked is because there's always an individual or a group of individuals inside that network of communism who are power and money hungry, and that is what drives it. And it always dissolves into a dictatorship run by communism because people are fucking greedy, man.
Well, I mean, but
that's exactly it. Communism fails because of greed.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it fails because of greed, and that's on the higher end. Now, can you call it, say, greed, or can you say independence when it comes to the lower end, when it comes to you're earning 5,000 a month, I'm earning 5,000 a month, or even not even that, 2,000 a month, 1,000 a month, 100 a month, whatever. We're all getting the exact same thing, and I'm pissed off about it. I think that I can do more. That's where the human condition comes in. Is that greed, or is that strivability that I want to achieve?
Well,
Now, greed on the higher end, but you see the fine line of what I'm talking about, though.
Right. So you have a base pay. We all make 5,000 a month. Great, that's fantastic. So on and so forth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We all have different occupations, different jobs to function as a society. Some jobs require more physical labor, more dedication, more work than others. So, if say we all get paid the same amount of money, but yet you do less work than I do, well, then why am I doing more work? I should just quit this job and go do what you do.
Right.
Or I should just become lazy in my job. It comes back to the God, I can't remember exactly what the study was, but they graded everybody on a curve. They gave everybody the highest grade.
Okay.
In the class. It was a class of 10 individuals, and everybody took a test. Well, the highest grade was 100. And they said because the highest score was 100, everybody got 100 on the test. The next test, same topic or same rules applied. Well, the individual that studied that got that 100 didn't study as hard. And the ones that failed last time or would have failed, they didn't study at all because they figured there was no need to. So the grade point average kept dropping continuously because of the lack of encouragement or motivation to do well. There was no incentive to achieve anything.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Kind of like, and this is going on a little bit off topic in some aspects, but the whole participation trophy thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's exactly what you're saying. Yeah, that and like it coincides with like the UBI, Universal Basic Income and shit.
Yeah, I bust my back when I was younger in sports because I wanted to do good. I wanted to win trophies. I wanted that good job.
And that drives free market.
Everybody got the same prize. It's like, but I dedicated myself. I pushed myself to be the best. But yet, Joey over there, who spun in circles, got the same thing I did. So why should I push myself to be the best when the person who didn't do anything gets the same treatment?
Right. Exactly.
And when you have that type of situation, everything's going to start collapsing because there's going to be no effort. Now, if it's, hey, he did the best, so guess what? He gets this kind of reward. That's how you achieve greater things. It's kind of like when you train animals. You train a dog. You know, dog pees on the carpet. You stick his nose in it. You swat him on the bat. And you put him outside. Well, eventually the dog learns, I'm not supposed to pee there. Now the dog pees outside. What do? You praise him. You give him a treat. You show him that he's done something positive. He's done something good. He gets a reward for it. Humans, we thrive off of punishment and reward. We get punished for doing bad things. We learn and we adapt because we don't want to receive it again. We get rewarded. It's like, hey, that was nice. I want that. So we continue to address that behavior. It falls under neurolinguistic programming, which is a form of brainwashing.
And
that's a completely different topic.
Here's the thing that coincides with that, but it is also a bad part as well, but it goes along with that, is that when it comes to like the universal basic income, that's a good way to defeat that, because like if it goes along with like you're just getting it because you're not doing anything, you're just getting it just because, like the evolution doesn't happen from there.
No,
but then
it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. And like a good way to
defeat evolution is based off of necessity. Everything we have, everything that was invented, the evolution of society, evolution of life was based off of necessity. We had to improvise, we had to adapt to continue surviving. Now we are at a state in our society where that isn't really necessary so much. So we have an evolution of entertainment. of
Right.
occupying our minds. Things
Right.
to keep us from just, going stir crazy or going off the rails or anything, because we have so many things. People used to spend hours working in fields just to bale hay. Now we have machines that can do that all day while you're sitting in there listening to music, watching movies.
Right.
So we have literally taken something that used to take us all day to save us time and cut that time into fractions.
Oh yeah.
And now because of that, we've created more time, but now we're trying to find ways to occupy that time, which has in some aspects been really bad for us because it has created a lazy mindset of, well, I can just go get this done, go sit on my ass or go screw around for an hour, or I can put that off because I can go do that later on because I can have it done in an hour.
Yep.
Well, it's partly that, but it's also that we have become such a consumer society.
Yes.
And, and also with like different websites and apps like that are free, like especially Facebook, we are the product
Oh yeah.
that they sell. They take our information and they sell it.
Oh, absolutely.
On that note, I gotta get going, guys.
All right.
All right. Have a good one.
Later, man.
And speaking of Facebook, so when social media apps put out guidelines, when they put out terms of service that we agree to, that is their way of building the product, controlling the product. Because
True.
it's saying, hey, you are going to behave and do certain things. Otherwise, we're not going to allow you on our app. And a lot of us will agree to it. And then we start going on to the app and everything else. We have fun for a little bit. And then we start getting into a little more personal and start getting addicted to it. I mean, the number of people that are addicted to social media in general is ridiculous.
Oh, it's got to be ridiculous.
And people that get completely upset because they lose a social media account. Oh, this is stupid. I got banned on Facebook, or I got banned on this, or they took this down, and they get so upset and frustrated over a social media account.
Yeah. I mean, which I can see it for some people, whatever else, but then again, I mean, I can see why they would, but then again, it's also like, why?
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a movie that was done, and oh gosh, I'm gonna forget what it was called now. I think it's called The Social Dilemma. That's what it's called, The Social Dilemma.
How Facebook and shit
goes-
pretty much became, and
And it shows, I mean, like, okay, these industries, they aren't dumb. Like, they study how the human mind works. And they created these products to be addictive.
Yep.
They didn't realize, like, how much of an impact that it would have, and how effective it was. But, yeah, I mean, they know all this shit. Like,
Oh yeah.
they're not fucking stupid.
Absolutely.
No, it's just like a certain app we are all on, and some of their guidelines and certain things that we are not allowed to say. Otherwise, our content gets taken down. I mean, I was just recently banned from doing something, and I didn't actually say anything that went against any terms of services or guidelines.
Right.
And I got permanently banned. Like an hour ago.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, and it also doesn't make any sense that these apps, they now are essentially highways for people to communicate.
Right.
And to say that somebody cannot speak on them, that goes against a First Amendment's right.
No, it absolutely does. Well, here's the one
Uh-huh.
thing. Here's the one thing that I'll say though too, which I've thought about. I don't know how much it really holds ground, like say in like a court case or whatever else, but like say we're on TikTok and like I say something that they disagree with, but it's First Amendment rights because that's what it is here in the US, but like is TikTok really completely ran by China, and if it is, does it go along with their guidelines to where they can do whatever the fuck they want, which I mean
I'd like to step in here on that real quick. So, the First Amendment right protects us from the government violating our freedom of speech.
Right, but
TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, those are privately owned companies. They can refuse service to anybody for any reason whatsoever that they deem fit.
Now, here's my one rebuttal to some of that, though, would be like a foreign country, though. If it's from a foreign country, that would be the one weird thing. But go ahead. Like that's the only thing that I'm throwing in there with that.
So by TikTok saying you can't say this or banning you for something, that is not technically a violation of your First Amendment rights because they are a privately owned company. You do not pay to be on the app. Now, if you paid to be on the app,
it's different.
That'd be a different story.
True.
And so many people are out there. It's like, oh, you banned me or you blocked me or you took down my video for this or that or another. That's a violation of my First Amendment rights. It's like, well, not really. They are a business and they're just refusing service to a customer.
But the people that
because of something you said.
There was the fine line though between being a publisher and just a platform. That was the fine line that people didn't understand when it came to what is it, that 230. Because like if you're putting stuff out and like people say it's because of you, it's like some supposedly. Yeah, I heard that.
Who was that?
That was me.
That was me.
Redneck.
No, that was Redneck.
But people want to worry about.
Myself,
well, people want to worry about some sort of connection, but it's like, I mean, if it's just put out on a social network and it is what it is, it shouldn't have shit to do with that social network. It is because of the person they put it on there. So what if they're on the social network?
It's because they are afraid that by allowing certain things to be on that social network that they will lose other viewership or other members because it goes against what somebody else might view as offensive. So somebody else might leave solely because they found something that was offensive. So they will leave. So to mitigate that, they decide, oh, hey, we'd rather just ban or block one person instead of potentially losing a lot.
But that
fucking ridiculous, but it is.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like my rebuttal is obviously going to be that goes against the First Amendment, and it also goes against the agree to disagree in everyone's life. Because that is the First Amendment. First Amendment literally basically boils down to we agree to disagree, and whatever happens in public discourse happens.
But the thing of it is, though, is the amendments, the rights, were written not to say, well, we as other citizens can't do this. No, it was, hey, government, you can't do this to us.
Mm-hmm.
So since how social media networks such as TikTok and Facebook are not controlled by the government that anybody can prove, then there is no stance for it being a violation of a First Amendment right.
So, back kind of on the original topic of what we were originally talking about.
Got way off.
So, no, it's fine.
Sorry, I helped people rabbit trail.
A Russian aircraft, a pretty large aircraft, that was shot down over Kiev. And then possibly a thermobaric weapon was detonated in Kiev also.
Oh, shit. When was this?
I put the videos just within the past 20 minutes.
No shit.
I put the videos up so that way y'all can see them when you want.
I'll check those
Thermobaric,
out in
right?
a little bit.
Yeah, thermobaric.
Yeah.
The last video I posted is the possible thermobaric.
Thermobaric, more heat, less radiation, basically.
But the ones where it looks like something was hit in the sky, that was a very large Russian aircraft.
All
They
right.
got obliterated.
Well, I'm still doing. Is it not gonna let me click anywhere? I'm doing the video recording. No.
I'm headed to bed, guys, or gonna try to.
All right, bro.
Have fun.
Have a good one.
night.
Yeah, my phone is blowing up right now with all of the
All the stuff and things.
all the info that's coming in from the bombing that's going on right now.
Right on. Yeah, I need to check some of that shit out. Yeah, I'm about to cut this. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. So yeah, I'll cut out of here. Good recording, and yeah, maybe I'll try and do another one again soon. We'll see how this one even is. All right,
Remember,
later.
if anybody calls,
Hmm.
by his name, to cut it out.
Well, we call him Travis all the time. It's just he doesn't want it to be known. Are you still recording?
Yeah, I already cut this. Yeah, I'll cut this last part too. I'm about to stop that now. Yeah.